Well, I wanted to talk about new construction for a minute. We started 2020 in the sales center at 1000 South Michigan, which was the largest condo development in downtown Chicago in over a decade. Developer pulled the plug on condo sales there. It was an early casualty of the pandemic, but we still work with a lot of developers, and we are talking to developers that are planning new condo construction in the city right now. So I wanted to get your take. What advice do you give to those developers that are planning a new condo project in the city, given all that's happened with COVID? Mike, why don't you take that one first?
Sure. Well, listen, if you look at where we're at and where we've been, we are seriously underdeveloped in the city for condos. I mean, we have had, if we go back, over the last 20 years, from 2000 to 2006, 2007, we were seeing 3, 4, 5,000 housing starts a year. Obviously, a lot more entry-level product that became rental product in the next wave. But we've only had a couple of hundred condo starts a year in and year out for the last 10 years. So we are underdeveloped, undersupplied in the city. And if you look at what happened last time, so obviously 2008, 9, 10 came along, everything stopped. We had to bleed out a lot of inventory. But the really successful developments were the ones that got done early in the cycle. So like 4 East Elm is a really good example. It's a project that we worked on that basically got started back in 2013 as we were really coming out of the last downturn, and it was an incredibly successful project. And they had to take a leap of faith to get started in a time where things hadn't fully recovered. I think the same opportunity exists for developers today, in that there's going to be demand in the city. There's going to be demand, especially in certain neighborhoods of the city, and there's really nothing out there. 1000 M, unfortunately, was a casualty of the crisis, but it was an incredible project with amenities that everyone wants, that nobody has right now, and could have been a very successful project.
It's interesting that you mentioned amenities, because there's a lot of conversation now about whether buyers are going to want amenities, whether they're going to want to mingle with residents, whether they're looking at something more low density.
Yeah, I think those that are planning for some of the lack of socialization to be a permanent factor in our community and culture are making a big mistake. I think that COVID gave us an impact to only appreciate our socialization with others more. And I do think people will be moving back to the offices, and I do think there will be vibrancy in the city and people will be wanting to work in the city. And I also think that people will want fitness rooms, business centers, meeting rooms, swimming pools, and those community amenities that allow them to enjoy more of a club lifestyle from home. That's not going to stop. That's only going to continue to be in great demand.
Do you think there will be a demand in new buildings for technology to address some of the concerns that have come into our consciousness because of COVID? So things like, touchless doors, touchless elevators, air filtration systems, et cetera. Is that going to find its way into new buildings in the near future?
Yeah, I think so. And some of that technology is ridiculously inexpensive, as far as the doors, et cetera. But I don't think people are going to be that freaked out with touching a doorknob. They'll be aware of it for a long time, but people are going to continue to move forward normally. I think filters and HEPA filters and that sort of advertising right now is very meaningful and will probably become the norm. It'll probably become normal engineering for new construction buildings and new construction single families, where there is an element of a heightened filtration system, and those are not incredibly expensive. So those things that can be ordered and developed and added without an enormous cost will probably become mainstream.